Flight searches surge out of Hong Kong, with Bangkok being the top destination. We've got robot waiters and a wage hike in Thailand. Find out more on today's Good Morning Thailand. Hello, I'm Jay.
I am Maddie.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I actually had a lot of fun.
hello and welcome back to Good Morning Thailand. My name is Jay, and joining me today are two lovely ladies. It's Natty Warisa
Hello, everyone.
and Sarah.
Good morning.
Just Sarah. She's like Cher. She's a one person act, like Adele
yeah, Madonna. I'll take that.
or Madonna.
I'll take that.
Right.
Great.
Today we'll be talking about some current affairs and headlines throughout Thailand. You can use the timestamps at the end of the video, the live video, to skip to the part that you're here to find out more about. Let's get started. Our first topic is regarding searching through the abyss. Now, flight searches out of Hong Kong in particular have jumped 290%, with Bangkok being the top destination. Now, I wanted to use this topic to further talk about Thailand recovering and islands like Phuket recovering and just tourism in general. Now, online searches for flights out of Hong Kong have surged 290% in the last 24 hours after the government announced shorter hotel quarantine requirements on Monday. And according to travel company Expedia, the top trending city was Bangkok. With strong demands for Phuket as well as other places like, I believe, Osaka in Japan. And now that Hong Kong is basically, allowing its citizens more freedom, or less restrictions rather, they want to travel, and they want to travel to Bangkok and Phuket. Now, in particular, I wanted to talk about Phuket, for example. That sounds like a great place if you want to travel coming from a fairly busy and
They have direct flights to Phuket as
yes,
well. Convenient.
like a metropolitan like Hong Kong. It's a busy city.
Yeah.
It's so it's no surprise that they'd want to go to a place like Bangkok. They'd like to go to a place like Phuket. Now, Phuket in particular is still in recovery mode, and it's relying heavily currently on Indian and Australian flights. So I'm guessing flights from Hong Kong will definitely be welcome. Now, direct flights from India and Australia are helping to sustain Phuket's tourism industry during the low season. However, the president of Phuket Tourist Association has come out and said, look, full recovery is not possible this year, but we're glad, and we're very glad that especially Indian tourists in particular are coming to the island. Now, the number of international direct flights to the island was currently 20 to 30 per day on average. Mainly, all of these flights are coming from India, and it's Phuket's number one source of tourists.
Indian tourists.
Yeah. So, is Hong Kong possibly going to be one of the top tourist numbers? Does that make sense? Are people from Hong Kong going to be counting towards the number of tourists coming to the island and Thailand in general?
Because they have lower quarantine days? Is that why?
Yes.
It used to be crazy amount of days. Like, I think it's
21.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then it was like 14.
Yeah.
And now I'm not sure. Is it 7 or 5?
Possibly. I don't have that
I
number.
just asked my friend. She said 7 days still.
7 days.
But the
Well, 7
thing
days
is,
is
she
big.
didn't say 7. She said 4 plus 3. And I'm like, why can't you just say 7? What does that mean, 4 plus
I mean,
3?
4 maybe at the hotel and then 3 at home. Yeah.
Possible.
Okay, 4 days is still, but I'm guessing hotel prices and everything in Hong Kong is a lot more expensive as well.
Very.
Let's talk about. I mean, good news. The fact that people from Hong Kong are considering Thailand. I believe Hong Kong's always had a good relationship with Thailand. We've always had direct flights with before Dragonair and Cathay Pacific. Now, Cathay Pacific has definitely struggled quite a bit as an airline, obviously because of the pandemic, just like every other airline. But good news.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, yeah.
Now, girls, I wanted to ask you, I actually met someone yesterday, like talking on the topic of tourism and Phuket and Indians being the number one tourists coming to Phuket. I actually met someone yesterday and I was talking to them just about tourism and, the recovery and business. And they asked me, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm in media production, this and that. And they asked me, there's a lot of Indians coming to Phuket right now. Do you do media with them? And I said, no, what do you mean? They're like, you do media, maybe you do photography and videos. Do you work with a lot of Indian tourists? And I was like, fair question. I was like, okay, look, there are a lot, but I was like, I'm guessing they're coming for tourist reasons, and you know they're traveling a bit more. But that does actually seem to be the general like idea going around Phuket in particular, because I've been hearing this from quite a couple of people, because they're like, oh, you're in media, yeah, work must be good, right? You're working with a lot of Indian tourists. I'm like, because I'm
but
Indian.
why?
What?
How is it related though? I'm
Well, the point-
confused a bit.
I think that firstly, I think they're just trying to make conversation, and they don't
okay.
really know what to say. And it was very polite conversation, and it was very nice. And they were just you know trying to get more information as well. But it's gotten to the point where people are like thinking like, oh, like Indians coming to Phuket and Thailand must be bringing business as well. Now I know they come for weddings, and yes, in that
Yeah.
type, in those terms, yes, in the past I used to have a lot of work. Yes, shooting video and photography for weddings. So I can understand where they're coming from, but no. In particular, I think the tourists coming to Phuket is
Not related.
not related to media production.
At least for you.
Yes, at least to me. Now I wanted to discuss basically like. I do hope we don't get into a similar situation as we did with the Chinese tourists. Now, I don't know if you both are aware, but while I was in Phuket, you know, pre-pandemic, we had this sudden surge of Chinese
It
tourists.
was everywhere here too.
It was, but in Phuket especially, you know, compared the size of the island, it was just everywhere.
Packed,
You
yeah.
go to Patong, you go to Phuket town, you go to a beach, you just had Chinese tourists, and it's like the classic tour bus comes and parks. You know, you see an unimaginable amount of Chinese tourists coming out of that tour bus. I'm like, are there that many seats? You know, they come out and they flock.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yes.
They flock to the restaurants, local shops that you're usually supposed to go to, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. And it started off great. You know, they were like, yeah, Chinese tourists coming, tourism boosting, economy is great. And then about 3 months later, you know, the amount of trash increases, the amount of tourists increase, the amount of people speaking Chinese increases. You start seeing signs in Chinese, the
Everything's in
menus,
Chinese, yeah.
and then people are like, oh, okay, getting slightly crowded. 6 months forward, people are like, oh, these Chinese tourists again, right? Resentment starts to build. They're like, oh, these Chinese tourists again, going to our pubs, going to our restaurants, and it's resentment built as through the inability to visit your favorite restaurants, and then you know. Every now and then you get a couple of bad eggs who ruin the reputation for everyone, right? And you get into some arguments, you get into some fights, you see a lot of trash, you see people not following the rules, and you're like, ugh, these Chinese tourists, and
Yeah.
everyone's been branded in the same category. And what I'm afraid of is these mass amounts, and India is just like China. It's, you know, when you have a population of over 1 billion people, it's very difficult to get a group of people and brand them as Indians, because like anyone who's ever been to India, there's 100 plus religions, 100
Yeah.
plus languages, and you know, depending on where you're coming from the
Caste.
country, caste system, this and that, depending on where you're coming from the country, they're different people. And just like China, these tour packages that are being offered are very cheap, you know. So there's a very different standard of tourists coming as well. There are some who can afford, you know, the high so market, the middle income market, and also the low income
So
market.
all kinds of people will
So
be here.
I feel like we're going to run into another Chinese tourist scenario, exactly, where I don't know when, but I feel like there will be this situation where there'll be too many of them, resentment will start to build, but I hope not. What do you feel?
I just maybe I'm thinking too far in the future, but I wish like there was some kind of education system to
Yeah.
have people behave themselves when they're out in public. You know, like a lot of I'll just talk about my Chinese family. Like, you know, I mean, like you should. I don't know. Like there's certain etiquettes that are more universal than others. For example, not spitting on streets would be nice to
Yes.
start teaching young kids, like, can you not do that from young. And so when they grow into adulthood, like at least you can kind of blend in with the international society a little bit more and not cause like a ruckus everywhere you go.
But I think the
maybe.
Chinese government, they know this problem, and they have a point system where they deduct when people have bad behavior outside the
Really?
country. Yeah.
Outside the country. So
Yeah.
when you come back, you've
Like
been
AI
deducted.
system.
You've been a naughty tourist, minus 10 points for you.
Yeah.
No more traveling
Something
for the
like
next 6
that.
months. Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Well,
don't know.
But I don't know if India is gonna do the same thing.
it's also a cultural difference, right? Look, every time you're a guest in another country, yes, you have to abide by that country's laws, you have to be respectful of people, but you also have to understand that these people are on holiday.
Yeah.
Regardless, the life that they've been living in their country, they've been working hard, they come on holiday to let loose. And considering the fact that it's Thailand and the rules in general are very loose, people let loose a little bit too much. And that's when you're like, ugh,
There's no
these
boundaries.
people. But I really hope that we don't, fall into that cycle of resentment, which builds, hate and racist behavior. And I think everyone, it's not just Thailand and Thai people, I've experienced this pre-pandemic, and I hope that in this post-pandemic issue where we are heavily relying on tourism, we can all love each other and accept
Live
each
in
other
harmony.
for all our cultural differences. And that's my PSA for today. Love Indians. We're all right. Talking about tourism recovery and just recovery in general, let's talk about Thai people and Thailand in general. Now, we've got a story where wages in general are going to be hiked, hopefully starting October. Sarah, you've got more information on this.
Yes, so we talked about, expats having high salary, and we never really talked about Thai people's salary, which is per day, I think it's 300 baht on
Yes.
average.
13 or something.
Yeah, depending where you are and the sector that you're working. So the Ministry of Labor is pushing a proposal to raise the daily average wage by 5 to 8% in October, as opposed to early next year. So this was planned already, but it was supposed to happen in January. So now they wanted to do it in October. The Labor Minister said at the government house on Tuesday that they want to adjust this wage hike as early as October 1st due to surging living costs. He noted that provincial wage committees has already determined the new minimum rates for their respective provinces. So each province will have a different, wage, adding that a team of labor authorities would soon finalize the increments. According to the labor minister, there will be 12 different rates, which will vary between 1 and 2 baht for certain provinces and will be implemented based on the GDP status of each province. He also tasked a team of experts to finalize the new minimum wage by the end of this month in order to allow the proposal to be analyzed in greater detail before being submitted to the cabinet and consideration next month. So due to the high cost of living and production in Phuket, the Eastern Economic Corridor region, Bangkok, and I think Chonburi as well, the wage hike could initially begin in these areas first. So the daily minimum wage in Thailand actually varies between 313 baht, which is around like $9, and 336 baht, which is around $9.5, according to each province. A 5.8% increase would amount to between 16 baht and 27 baht per day.
Okay.
So it's not much at all. So now, on the side of the Federation of Thai Industries, they're not really happy with this because they're the business people. They're the one who have to pay. They do not agree with the Labor Ministry's plan to enforce this new minimum wage on October 1st. Even though they like the idea of increasing the minimum wage, they said that the businesses would be flooded with too many financial burdens, notably a rise in the Bank of Thailand's policy rate, which they just confirmed yesterday to 0.75%, and higher electricity bills, which is controversial right now. And the FTI is aware that the wage needs to be increased under the current economic conditions, but they want to wait till January, so to give business time. Also, another organization, the Employers Confederation of Thai Trade and Industry, is also against the idea of increasing it in October, saying that it's politically motivated and is a plot to attract votes in the upcoming general election set to be held next year.
That's exactly what I thought. There's an election
That's what
coming
I
up
thought
soon.
as well, and they're pushing it fast. So next year, I'm not sure if I think it was supposed to be in April or May, the general election. So January would be too close. So I think October is a good time for them.
Well, I think
They always do this with grassroots people, try to
Yeah.
buy them with money
Yeah.
in some form.
Yeah.
And this is another great example of how they're doing it.
Yeah, and think about it from like just a general thought. Oh, if they want to give us more money, and so that we'd earn more money, that's great. Why would anyone say no to that?
Well, the thing is, when they first did the increase in wages,
Yeah.
right? Small and medium-sized companies all went bankrupt because all of a sudden they had 30 or
Business costs.
40 employees that they had to immediately increase each person by like 100 baht or something,
Yeah.
which doesn't sound like a lot, but if this is your margin, and then all of a sudden your cost like inflates.
Yeah.
They go like,
Yeah,
so
you're-
it
yeah.
kind of benefits only the big corporations, and I don't want to say the names, but there's a very big corporation in Thailand that kind of is behind this, behind politics, and I'm not sure if they're kind of colluding even with this policy again. It sounds on paper like a good idea,
Yeah.
but it really is only benefiting a couple of people.
Yeah.
And it will also affect the consumers because the price will increase because now, the business cost has increased.
Yeah, and what were we talking about? 20 to 25%, right?
No, only
8%, I think.
5
in
to 8. So
8%.
an average of only 16 baht and 27 baht increase.
5 to 8%. Natty, talking about smaller businesses. Now, all of a sudden, if they're already struggling to break even or to pay their salaries, and now they have to deal with an 8% increase. And you're right. Increasing that will increase their cost of operation.
Yeah, for sure.
And they'll have to pay their salaries more, and therefore also start charging people more. And where does that
It's
cycle
a domino
end?
effect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone will be affected. Except the
big
government.
corporations and governments.
Say no to big corporations. Must
Right.
bring them down.
So passionate
Allegedly,
as well.
not me.
Okay.
Anyways, we'll be back. We're going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. And once we come back, we've got stories regarding the Thai cave rescue, robots,
Ooh.
and also a poll that we're going to address that the Voice of God sent out yesterday. So we'll be back right after this. Hello and welcome back to Good Morning Thailand. This show is brought to you by Andamanda Water Park. Girls, did you know that this is a themed water park?
Really?
And it has mystical creatures,
Oh, really? Like what?
Thai mystical creatures,
Ooh.
like the Naga. You know, the snake, mystical creature.
Yes.
And one of the great things about Andamanda, I think both me and Nadi actually got the opportunity to interview Kun Prao. And one proud aspect of Andamanda Water Park is that they chose to make it Thai mystical creatures themed. You know, they could have easily gone the route of Universal or Disneyland and made it mainstream, but they were like, no, we're going to stick to our roots and we're going to make a great water park, and it's going to be Thai themed.
I think
Thai
that's great.
themed. It is great,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I think a lot of Thai entrepreneurs embrace the Thai-ness in them, and we actually use that as like a marketing tool in a way
Selling
because we're
point,
proud.
yeah.
Yeah, we're proud of our culture.
Yes, we are. So visit Andamanda Park next time you travel to Phuket for a wet and wild day out. On that note, I'd like to thank Penang Worldwide. Thank you, Penang Worldwide, for being a Tiger member. We appreciate your
Thank you.
support. Thank you very much, good sir. And let's now address a poll that we sent out yesterday. Now, this was regarding the proposal in the next CCSA meeting to extend visa exemptions on arrival and visa on arrival dates to 45 days. So, respectively, if you come to Thailand and you're using exemptions for visa on arrival or visa on arrival, you get to stay in the country for approximately 30 days.
Yeah.
But they're looking to extend that to 45 days. And most people said 45 days is great, a nice gesture. For 60% of the people said, great, that's very nice. An increase in the amount of days you can stay in Thailand is always welcome. 24% said it still doesn't feel enough, they should do more. And 16% said, it has no effect on my plans, doesn't bother me. Now, I took a couple of comments that perhaps expressed the feelings of the results of the poll. Dirk Baldwin says, I truly, truly hope this goes through as it makes sense for a lot of tourists. Definitely me. it will be saved a lot of trouble. The government will lose a lot of extended visa fees, but the tourists will still have to pay for accommodation, eating out, travel and shopping. It makes sense to give us the extra 15 days. In the UK, it will cost an extra 1,000 baht to get a 60-day visa. They just need to do the maths. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
Staying here for 15 more days, you got to stay somewhere. And SP and R136A both commented on the amount of days. Now, they said should be 90 days and make it 60 days and it'll be a winner. I thought that too.
That's
I
a
was like,
lot.
why did they stop at 45 days? If they're going to increase it.
And also, it's just valid till December 2022,
That is correct.
which
yeah.
is confusing a little bit. Like, why?
Also,
Maybe they want to test it out first.
I guess they do, and I hope they only improve on this. I think it's a good move, and it's a good step forward. But I was like, why stop at 45 days? That's so annoying. It's a 1.5 month.
Like,
Why not
how-
just
how
60?
long? 60 days?
No, yeah, 60. Like, at least 2 months, right?
Okay.
I get to go on a 2 months holiday.
Or give the option
Yeah.
for people to choose 30, 45, 60, 90, and then pay accordingly. I think that's a great option.
90 days, 3 month holiday.
Yeah, I wish.
Oh, okay.
I want
Someone
that.
likes to live large. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to our next story, which is regarding the 2018 Thai cave rescue. Natty, can you tell me more about this story, please?
Yes, I can. So, taking the inspiration from the 2018 cave rescue in northern province of Chiang Rai, I think a lot of people remember that incident well, where I think 12 youngsters from the Wild Boar football team got stuck inside the cave, and tons of people had to come rescue. It was an international event.
Yeah.
Elon Musk even sent people down to help the cave boys come out with their coach. And building on that inspiration, 1 billion baht will be invested in a new attraction and exhibition called the Caventure. And a soft opening is expected in October next year.
Wow.
This agency, it's called Index Creative Village, decided to create a monument or something to remember the incident by with a permanent exhibition. And this construction will start this month on a 40,000 square meter area in the Mae district of Chiang Rai province, and is about 1 kilometer away from the Tham Luang Khun Nang Non Forest Park, where the event took place. Now, inside the Caventure, in case you were wondering, we'll have a permanent exhibition telling the stories of the Wild Boar football team and the rescue process. The highlight will be the Tham Luang Nang Non Situation Room, the real rescue equipment and possessions of the coach and children, like their clothes, their bicycles, and so on and so forth. The Caventure will also offer visitors the immersive experience of being inside a cave, and the project will provide a balloon touring service for visitors who want to see a bird's eye view of the cave itself. Now, the Index Creative Village believes that the project would draw 500,000 visitors, that's 500,000 per year, and generate between 30 million baht to 650 million baht in revenue. I think that's really ambitious. Now, the founder and CEO of the Index Creative Village revealed that the company has researched different attractions that have been constructed as a remembrance of other notable incidents in history, such as the 9/11 incident. And he said that September 11 Memorial attracts 3 million visitors per year in the US, while Stonehenge in the UK draws 1.6 million more tourists per year, and added that places with stories are interesting for tourists. What do you
I
think?
think it sounds great, but sometimes when places like this happens and you have this image in your head, when you actually go there, it's different. So I just hope they do it well enough that people actually like it and talk about it and tell other people to visit, not just like, oh, don't go there. It's such a disappointment.
I have mixed feelings about this topic. Firstly, I think they shouldn't compare it to Stonehenge. What is the Stonehenge? What does it mean? What is it there? How did they get those rocks up? So many questions. No, and I definitely don't think they should call it Cave Venture. Now, I'm all for, paying respects, remembering what happened,
Yeah.
shedding more light, and, making a monument out of this. But I don't know if
Can I go on with your sentiment, because
Okay.
I shared the same thing when I was reading it.
Yeah.
I think the concept itself and the logic behind it. Oh, you want to create a tourist attraction, something that can be remembered by and attract international tourists, is all good.
Yeah.
The only problem I have is that I saw the prototype, the architecture of it, and I was like, why does it look like a Catholic cathedral? It looks so weird. It looks so strange. It doesn't look like something memorial and like maybe a little bit more mellow.
Yeah.
Because and also the word cave venture. Now typically the word adventure is associated with positive, fun,
Yes.
and exciting
Exactly. Yeah.
events. But I don't think anybody involved in that incident was enjoying that adventure.
It was a very. They've made documentaries on the fact
Yeah.
that they thought all the boys and everyone would die.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So there's a lot of. There's very serious.
But maybe because no one died, so they think it's okay to do this.
It is a miraculous story, yes.
Yes.
And that's why it should be remembered. Maybe they made like a cave replica where people go in and
think
learn
that
about
would
the
be
stories.
better.
Yeah, but I don't know if we want to make it a Stonehenge kind of thing, you know?
Oh no, they're not making it into a Stonehenge. They were
no,
just
I know,
comparing it. Yeah,
I know. But
But you can actually go to the actual site and visit it right now.
You can
I think
go in a
that's
balloon.
okay.
That's kind of cool, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like some parts of it.
go in a balloon?
Yeah,
do
yeah,
you
like a balloon. You know, like the hot air balloon,
Oh, okay.
and then float on top of it, and you can see because it's
really?
only a 1 kilometer away from the actual
Okay,
incident
I
place.
see.
But yeah, again with the cave venture thing, and they were comparing it with 9/11. But you know, 9/11 incident, like they have a place called Ground Zero, and what
Yeah.
it is just like a very somber looking place.
Yeah.
And they call it Ground Zero for a reason. They don't call it 9/11 Adventure
Yeah.
Park,
Yeah.
right? Like that.
Also, 9/11 was like a
It was
deadly
sad, yeah.
disaster. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people lost their lives.
scale of
I think the last thing they need to do is compare it with another disaster or something else.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
let's just deal with it for what it is,
Mm.
and so that no one's feelings get hurt. You know, because everyone can relate to another incident or another disaster or another event differently, depending on where they're from, who they are, how they think. Now, okay, so let's just stop associating with anything else.
Yeah.
Let's take it for what it is. Let's stop calling it a cave venture.
Yeah.
And be, it should be a place where people go to pay their respects.
Yes.
It's like in Cambodia they have like museums and the killing fields where you can visit and you can learn their story, and it's actually quite touching and quite emotional.
Very sad.
Yeah, and so I went to the killing fields, and they give you a tape and headphones, and as you're going through all the points, you learn about their stories. This is what this place was used for, something like that. Adds value to the location. You learn something new, and that's something you can share with someone. Oh, next time you go to Cambodia, this is part of their history. This is important. Let's go learn about this. I think that's what it should be like.
Yeah, Hellfire Pass in Kanchanaburi did it very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they should have mimicked
It's a
that.
good example.
Yeah, instead of trying to go somewhere where it's super grand and
The last thing you want it to be commercial, right? I mean,
yeah, I think that's what's wrong with it because they made
It's
a
too
big thing about it.
commercialized.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, we're investing 1 billion baht. It's gonna call Cave Venture, and we're gonna do immersive theater, and you're gonna feel how it is inside the cave. I'm like, okay, that sounds like you're too excited
Yeah.
about this
I mean,
in a weird way.
it just sounds very commercial, and like, what are
Yeah.
they going to end up doing? Like, make T-shirts out of it? Like,
Oh no!
Most probably.
I hope not.
Souvenirs.
I hope not.
Yeah.
For sure.
Anyways, we'll have to wait and see. Let's wait and see how it's handled and how it's done properly, and if it will even attract a lot of people. I think it definitely will. I think many people who do travel to that region do want to go and find out more and pay their respects and learn about it. And I think it's a good attempt and a good start. Hopefully, it doesn't become commercialized and a gimmick. That's the
Yeah.
last thing we want, right? All right. We're going to leave it at that. That story ended up being a lot more serious than I thought. We're going to end the show with our last topic, which is regarding robots. Now, one of the stories in the Tiger.com is about robots now serving people at Thai restaurants. And in particular, it was at the S&P chain. Now, robots are now serving people. And S&P, the bakery and restaurant chain, is using robots as a way to cope with skyrocketing costs while keeping the prices down. Each restaurant usually employs 10 staff, but if you think about it, if you get a couple of robots, maybe you don't have to pay them a monthly income. And considering maintenance costs, they might not be as expensive as
So what
employing.
do they do though? They just deliver the
Yeah,
dish?
so they're waiters. Yeah. So I've also seen robot waiters, but only experienced it in Sizzler. So you're sitting down, and they're basically like a robot with like trays on them. Excuse me. So they put like bread or whatever, and I guess they're programmed to find their way to your table,
Yeah.
give you your bread, and then they go away. It's actually quite cool. I'm not gonna lie,
I
it's pretty
love
cool.
it, dude. Okay, Can I just tell you my experience?
Yes.
So I witnessed those robots in a shabu place, and they're
shabu.
very smart. Okay, so if you and sometimes they stack many tables in one
Yes.
robot, right? And if you want to be naughty and like, ooh, that one looks good, I'll just take it, even though you don't order it. The robot will say, "That is not yours. Please put it back." I'm like,
Oh,
oh, okay, never
Calls you
mind."
out.
Yes. Natty
Shames you.
Larissa, ID number 32. Well, okay, this might be a solution for businesses to cut costs. However, people will lose jobs, right?
Yeah.
Now, very serious topic, something that can be debated for a long time. But briefly, do you want to be greeted and serviced by a robot in restaurants? Or do you like the experience of meeting people? Because I know a lot of people will go out and say, look, I go to the restaurants for human interaction, blah, blah, blah. You go to restaurants because you like their food.
Yes.
I hope, right?
Yes.
Or you can just cook at home. You want to go to a specific restaurant, you want to enjoy the experience. Yes, face-to-face interaction with a waiter or waitress is a nice experience. And now, is service in general in restaurants in Thailand good? In my experience, no. I think in other countries the service is much better. But when you do get that waiter or waitress who gives you excellent service, you're like, oh, that was nice, that was neat. And you get that feeling of, I'm at a nice restaurant because of the staff. So, do you want to be greeted by a service robot who just
I
says,
would vote for a hybrid system.
okay,
Not fully robot,
Yeah.
waitresses, and
Yeah.
not fully human.
Yeah.
I think that's a good middle ground.
okay. Natty, you've been called into the office. The manager says, Natty Warisa, you have been outperformed by XC45 robot. He's more efficient than you. He doesn't
that
call in
fair?
sick. I'm sorry, that's life. He doesn't call in sick, Natty. Okay, he doesn't throw tantrums. He doesn't throw things at me. I don't have to deal with its abuse. And it does whatever I tell him, slash her, slash it. What do you have to say for yourself?
She's in
Let me-
shock right now.
Let me unplug its batteries, take it all out, and hide it.
Sabotage?
Yes.
That's
Very human.
destroying
thing.
business-owned assets. Cause for termination.
Oh no.
No, but seriously, eventually robots will take over everything. There's just
Yeah.
going to be 3 robots. here
Yes.
One day, just be like, "Good morning, Thailand."
I think in China they have an AI news anchor already.
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, they do.
So cool. I know in Japan they have like a human-like robot actually in one of the.
They're really good with robots.
Oh, they're so good, and they look so real from afar. I was like, oh, that's the receptionist, and then I walked up and like, okay, you look weird, and she's like, hello.
Oh
How
no!
I would be
I
so
was
scared.
creeped out. So creeped out.
Every time someone imitates a robot, there's a certain voice and certain actions like
Yeah.
"Hello," because every robot in the world is like "Hello, how are you
But
doing
seriously,
today?"
that's how it moved. It's
No,
so
I get it, I
unhuman-like.
get it.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, that's my.
I know
experience with
exactly
robots.
what you're doing without telling me. If you're just like "Hello," it's like, "Oh, Natty's doing the robot again."
Again, yes.
But if you just spoke normally, it would be a lot more stranger. Now we live in a world where we have robot baristas. I'm not gonna lie. I'm talking about Taobin, right? Have you ever tried Taobin? Taobin is basically a vending machine that makes you your coffee, and they call themselves a robot barista. Now, Natty's always been excited about this for months and months and months
wanted to-
since last year, really.
I wanted to do a video, which you
Yeah.
stopped me ordering everything in a
yeah.
taobin in a machine. Like
They have
there's
over like 400 drinks.
yeah,
She wanted to get all
and
of them.
He was like, "No, you can't get 400 drinks right now." I'm like, "Okay, fine."
Now Taobin calls itself the robot barista. I was always skeptical, right? But guess what? There's now a Taobin in my condo.
Yeah.
Yes.
You love it? Do you use it?
It is very good. I'm not gonna lie. It's a robot barista. You know, whether you want iced coffee, iced green latte, whatever it is, it's fresh. It tastes good. You can choose how much sugar you want, and they actually listen to me.
Yes.
And
Because it's a robot.
in 60 seconds, you get your coffee made.
yes.
And you can actually order while the coffee's being made. The next person can actually make their order,
Yeah.
and the quality is so good.
And so cheap too.
25 baht,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
cheaper than 7-Eleven.
There's some menus that are only 20 baht even.
I was just like, this is it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea because when you want coffee in the morning, you don't want to talk to people. So going to the vending machine.
Whoa.
So it's the. I had my coffee, guys, so I'm okay. You were
Are
complaining.
you telling me that you're not having chats with your barista every morning?
No.
How dare you?
You don't have chats with them?
Dude.
Yeah, my
Hey,
robot.
Dalvin. Like, yeah.
How are you today?
Yeah, so I walk into a coffee shop and I'm like, "Hi, barista, whose name is
Abdul.
Abdul.
Such a universal name.
Abdul, I would like a green latte."
Very excellent choice, sir.
Great accent, Abdul. You've only been living in Thailand for 15 years, or your whole life, rather. So, how's your day going? How's life? How's love? Do you not have these common conversations with your barista?
No.
Would you have this with your robot waiter? Imagine that.
sure.
You're just sitting there, you're eating your food by yourself in your restaurant, you've got your robot
But Natty
waiter next to
actually
you.
knows her a coffee person.
I do know my coffee
And they love
person.
her.
Yeah.
And your
'Cause I buy
coffee
every day.
person's name is?
Kun Noi from
Noi.
Coffee Berry, if you're watching.
Oh, there we go. Shout out to Kanoi. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know your comments regarding the future of Thailand. Are we going to be surrounded by robots? Is it just Thailand or is it the whole world? Tell us after we come back from the break. We'll be taking some of your questions. So we'll be back right after this. Conversation and have your voice heard. Discuss the issues, share information, and get information. Tiger Talk is where you keep in touch with everything Thailand. Go to thetiger.com/talk. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's now time for your comments and feedback.
Was that a hiccup or shocked or
I wasn't sure what that quite was. I didn't know if I lost my breath or if that was a hiccup in one. Anyways, thankfully, I'm still alive. Thank God. So enter the chat. The voice of God.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
What were you guys doing yesterday? Woo! Is that like a new entrance music?
Jet is responsible for that.
It's going to become a thing.
So I will get straight to the comments about Phuket recovery relying on Indian flights. You talked about that, right? So Poco Loco said, "Easy, Jay. Don't talk bad about your people."
I'm not. Am I?
You weren't. If anything, you were defending them. Kind of
Yeah.
like, don't group everybody in the same category. Yeah.
Because a lot of people say that Indian people are very stingy, and they don't tip. I think I looked at some of the comments and talking about tipping or something. Do you have a question regarding
yeah,
that?
I do.
Okay, I'll wait until you ask that question. Go ahead, Kamal.
Oh, should I ask it?
Yeah.
Dale said, my musician friends have seen a significant drop in tips with the increase in Indians. Is tipping part of the Indian culture?
Absolutely, no surprise. Is tipping part of the culture? Sure, but in India they tip like 20 baht to your waiter
Yeah.
or something, right? That's very normal. You're
they
not
don't see it as a problem as
exactly.
well.
Are Indians stingy? Absolutely. Just embrace it. I'm an Indian. I'll embrace it. Most Indians are extremely stingy. They don't like giving their money away. They'll
You're
bargain
okay
for the
to
last
say,
5 baht.
but not
That's
us.
just reality, right?
I think I'm half Indian then.
Maybe you are.
Bargaining.
Thailand's got a lot of Indian culture in it, but
yeah.
Indians are stingy, and that's fine. That's just how they are. That's cool. It's part of the culture. We don't like giving money away, and tipping, especially when you're musicians. You go to a bar, right? Service is expected. You go to a restaurant, you go to a business, you expect a certain amount of service. That's why you're out. And perhaps the logic is that I shouldn't be paying a waiter for doing his job. I shouldn't be paying a musician for playing music. Logically, that makes sense. Now, we come from a world where, depending on Western culture or different countries, where people like to give tip. They appreciate it. And they're like,
Yeah.
here's a 100 baht tip, here's a 200 baht tip. I am pro tips. I think the musicians don't, it's not like they're earning a lot of money. They're entertaining me and I'm overjoyed. I should tip them. And but equally, if a waiter is absolutely awful, I should have the right to not tip them.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Indians get criticized a lot for being stingy and they don't want to tip, but that's just where they're from. That's part of their culture. You pay your waitresses and people in your country 20 baht. Why would they act differently if they're coming to Thailand or really anywhere in the world? So it's a culture difference. It's a way of living. And that's why.
Okay, I'll move on to more comments. Stefan H. said, over the years, tourist demographics change from Europeans to Russians to Chinese and now to Indians. They have different etiquettes and preferences. But you want their business regardless.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
Yeah.
And Mackie commented, cheap package tours bring cheap tourists with cheap values. They are the ones that smear a country with bad image.
Who said that?
Mackie.
That is actually true, right? We don't like to admit it. We don't want to stereotype. We don't want to say something that's not, oh, it doesn't sound right, it doesn't feel right. But that is true. That is part of the problem. But also, we can't brand that all people who choose those packages are cheap and behave in a certain way. So, but yeah, if it is a problem, and I don't know what the solution to that is, and I don't know, but yeah.
Okay, so on the topic of the wage hikes from October, Stephen H said 300 some baht a day does not even get you a maid. Poco Loco said businesses are never happy to pay more.
This is true. 'Cause
I
they're
don't think
losing
any
money.
business in this world would be happy paying more.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's sad.
It's like that scene from Oliver Twist. More? No? Anybody seen Oliver Twist?
What?
You always quote funny movies.
Yeah.
Funny movies? One of the greatest
Niche
musicals of all
movies.
time.
Like, not popular.
So they don't know pop.
I'm like, at least.
So
the
you don't know
max.
Oliver.
Us.
You don't know Oliver's Twist. You don't know Les Miserables that I was singing earlier. Les Miserables? No.
No,
Okay.
I read the book.
Yeah, I read the book.
All right.
Sorry, do I move on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
please.
okay. So on the survey of extending the visa on arrival and visa exemption to 45 days, Tony the Tiger said 99.999% tourists stay less than 30 days. You wonder why people stay here 45 days and try to get an extension. There are like a lot more. Can I just go through all of them
Yeah,
and
sure.
then you guys say your
You can
Yeah.
briefly
Yeah.
conclude them.
yeah. Text symbol said, I stay 28 days twice a year. Mackie says 45 days only to encourage vloggers, not actual tourists. PG Santa said, if you need more than 45, they want you to apply ahead of time instead of just showing up at the country. John Peak said, start with a 90-day visa. It'll help get people into Thailand. And then Larry Conley said, the average tourist doesn't stay anywhere for 45 days or more.
It depends. There's a lot of tourists in Thailand that come from, Germany, UK that stay here for 2-3 months.
Like during winter,
Yes,
especially.
Yeah.
I feel
they
like
do.
those are not tourists though. They're more like digital nomads. They still have to make income somehow.
A lot of retired people come though, like for
Yeah.
long stay holidays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now there's
so,
a lot of
Not in
work
the
from
masses,
home
not in the
options
masses.
as well, where people, let's say in Australia, if you live in Sydney, the cost of living is really high. You can work from here, and the cost of living drops like crazy,
Yeah.
and you have a good quality of life.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, and guys, I mean, a holiday is not cheap as well, right? It depends on your budget. But if you are traveling from US, UK, you're spending what, 50,000 baht, depending on how many people you're traveling with. Average ticket is what, 25,000, 30,000
Yeah,
baht
around
for a
that.
one way. So you're spending 30,000 baht, for example, let's say, don't quote me on that, 30,000 baht to travel from UK to Thailand. And maybe your accommodation's a bit more affordable, then you can plan your holiday and stay here for longer. Because you're already spending so much to travel from one place to another, so you can take like 1 month off from work. So some people do that for a month, for 2 months, retired people, or people who just want to enjoy life.
But it's just weird, 45 days.
It is weird. I
Why
think it should
can't
be
they do
60.
Yeah, exactly.
2 months holiday, Daddy. Would you like a 2 months?
I would
holiday?
love even a 2-day holiday.
There's
Right.
already a
How is she
60
implying?
holiday.
tourist visa.
Excusez-moi.
Had a holiday. Anyways.
There's already a 60-day visa though, right? The tourist visa. It's that single entry one
Yeah.
that everyone keeps talking about. But I guess that's not for every country like that can yeah. Anyways, I don't know much about that, so I'm just gonna move on. You guys talked about the new attraction that's coming in for the Thai about regarding the Thai cave rescue. We have 3 comments from that. Sick Puppy said Elon did not do anything.
Yeah, I believe he came in and he wanted to make a submarine to help out.
Didn't work.
And there was that whole issue with the British cave diver. Yeah. He ended up not actually physically being able to help, but yeah, he did come over.
I think they were correcting on the chat as well. He wasn't British. He was Australian.
There
Yeah.
were a few British.
Australian that was in the UK at the time that he was called to help.
The diver.
Yeah.
But there are more than one.
Yeah, there are two of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot their names. I apologize for that. But yeah, there's documentaries on Netflix
Yeah, yeah.
now, and
Another new one
Yeah.
just came out, a movie.
And Mackie says, "Yes, Natty, the name adventure is lost in translation. Like it's not a great a word to use for that
Yeah.
new attraction." So on robots as waiters story, we have a couple of comments. Paul Shackleton asked, "Would I come to Thailand to be served by a robot?" Definitely not. PG Santa said, Natty has definitely tried to gank someone's food before with the
Whoops.
robots.
notorious.
And Stephen H said that like the robots in restaurants, it's an old story, but he hates those robots. Franco7 said, "I saw several robots serving food, especially in the shabu/barbecue places. And Central Ramen 9 Mall is good to see them in action.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them." Pocoloco said he wants to be served by a robot. And Tech Symbol said, "I prefer the interaction between two people, especially a pretty girl."
Can I interject really quickly with the robot situation?
Yeah.
I feel like most robots that are in place in Thai restaurants right now are the middle, how do you call it? The middle class kind of restaurants. So S&P, Sizzler, or even the barbecue place that I went
Chains.
to. Yeah, the chains. So they're not low end, but they're not also super high end, because when you go low end, that's when you can kind of pay for human labor because it's quite cheap. And then when you go high end, you want that human touch. But when you're at let's say like a
Sizzler,
shabu,
for example, you don't really care.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
just wanna
servers
eat.
don't even care. Like they're just like, oh, here's your order, and then they go
Yes.
off anyway. So
Yeah.
it doesn't make
Makes sense, really,
Yeah,
to have
so-
a
They've
robot.
got, they've got too much to do.
yeah.
Yeah, I was. It's in Aka actually, like the robots as well. Like it's a barbecue restaurant, and like if it weren't for the robots serving the food, it would be very very hectic in the restaurant because it looked like the people were already busy like running around, like, oh, they have to stack up this stuff, and so like the robots kind of helped. That's like, I guess, the hybrid mode. Like there were a few human workers while there were also robot workers, and it kind of worked out well.
Is that restaurant called Aka?
AKA
I always
Aka.
thought it was AKA.
Yeah,
Oh,
It stands
Aka.
for also known as.
Aka.
No,
It's
Aka
not
means
really. That was
red
a
in
joke, by
Japanese.
the way. That was a joke.
No, it's
You
Aka.
have to clarify
Oh,
yourself.
yeah.
I do have to clarify. But like, no, Jay. It's
But yeah. Yes.
all right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your comments. We appreciate them. Please click the like button if you've enjoyed the show so far. There's about 350 people watching, only 72 likes. Look at Natty's sad face.
Sad face.
Look at Sarah's displeasured face. And I wish you could see Carmel, the voice of God's face. So please click the like button if you have enjoyed the show, if you do like the show, and if you'd like to join us for tomorrow's show.
Tomorrow's a public holiday. It's Mother's Day.
It is. Tomorrow is Mother's holiday.
I
Mother's
think Natty
holidays.
has something for us later.
Why? Because I'm a mom?
No,
you-
no. A
I'm
video,
not, by
a
the way.
fun video.
Oh, offline. Oh, yes.
You-
Oh, you're
you've made
talking about
us
the video.
Yeah.
Remember that whole video you made?
Yeah, I forgot. I made a video. Hi.
We have a special video coming out for Mother's Day that Natty made that we had to remind her about.
She forgot.
Also a new podcast over the weekend and a couple more interesting videos coming out. So we do hope you stay tuned to the Tiger. As for now, I'd like to say thank you, Natty.
Thank you, Jay.
And thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
And of course, the voice of God and Shy behind the buttons, as well as all the viewers who are watching us, all the members. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.